If you wanted America to fail, you wouldn't change a thing. And you would try to convince everybody it was for the good of the country. But if we are to survive and thrive, we have to find a way to convince the country that they've been wildly misguided, wildly lied to by people they still have some trust. Look, nobody wants to hate the President of the United States. Nobody wants to think that he's a liar. Nobody. They've been working on this for about 100 years. You'll notice what Van Jones said in Rolling Stone. In the last 100 years, he's talking about the radical left change. Progressives have gotten more adept at duping people, that really, those are the things that are so great. They even feign agitation at being called socialist or Marxist or communists. But that's what they are. That's not a smear. That's what they are. But they won't say it because they know you won't accept it. Because remember, all these changes are for the good. That's not for Marxism or communism. It's for the good of America as you and your friends know it. Everything they're telling is good for us is deadly. And look how closely they will align to the values and principles found in the Communist Manifesto. The Blaze has much more on this. We talked about this last week, but I just want to go over just some of the highlights of the Communist Manifesto. One of them is the abolition of private property. Well, look what we have done. We have taken eminent domain and Fannie and Freddie, and the federal government owns 650 million acres of land. Do you have the slide for this? Show me the land. 650 million acres of land. Remember, what was it the first thing that the president did? The first thing the president did, look at all that acreage. The first thing he did is he started grabbing land for the wild horses. And we were all like, really? That's one of the first things? Mm-hmm. Then also a heavy progressive income tax. It's better. I don't want to hurt you. I just think it's better when we spread the wealth around. The U.S. now has the highest corporate tax rate in the world. If I wanted to destroy America, I would make it so no company would want to build a business here because the corporate income tax were crazy. And then the labor unions and hiring people and firing people. And you'd be entangled in all sorts of regulation. That's what we're doing. Is that helping us or is that killing us? Is that free market or is that a plank in the Communist Manifesto? The abolition of all rights of inheritance is the next one. Under Obama, the estate tax, now 35%. In his 2013 budget proposal, it raises the estate tax to 45%. The money's never yours. The confiscation of property of all immigrants and rebels. Now, this one seems really difficult. I mean, are they taking things from people that disagree with them? No. Yes. Gibson Guitar. They took their property, the rare wood. How did they do it? Through regulation. Why did they do it? Well, the Gibson people say it's because they don't support the president. If you don't like that one, how about when George Bush took guns from people in Katrina? The federal government just took their private property, something that guaranteed them in the Second Amendment, just took it, shoved an old lady down on the floor for it. Nobody reported on this. Then there's the next plank, centralization and monopolization of credit by means of a national bank. Well, you have one. It's the Federal Reserve. And what did we do? We gave everybody through TARP. Government forced these banks to take loans they didn't want. Well, who was the #1 bank for TARP? Do you remember? Tomorrow we're going to refresh your memory, and we're going to show you what that bank is now doing with gun manufacturers. It's quite interesting. Then centralized control of communication and transportation. Well, we already had NPR, PBS. They tried the fairness doctrine. Internet regulations are now being imposed. They're trying to take over the internet. They're trying to shut down talk radio. They need to control it. They're touting Al Jazeera, which is a government entity. Then you also have Amtrak and the buses and the port system. It's all controlled by the federal government, another communist plank. Government ownership of factories. Do I need to say any more than government motors? Equal liability of all to labor. Labor unions. Labor unions are in bed deeply with the Democrats, and the labor unions and now the Democrats are in bed deeply with the communists. Yeah, see, communist labor, that's the way it always has been. But the Republicans are involved as well. Then there's free education for all children in the government-controlled schools. They wanted to make schools a propaganda machine. Well, that's accomplished. And who is heading that? Who is having our kids in school marching in Wisconsin? The communist labor unions, the control of our teachers in the teachers' unions, and the schools. And then we make it free so everybody can go there. We've done that, but now we're going to do it to higher education. But what they've done is, while they've put in higher education, something that was in the health care bill was the cutting out of private sector funds for student loans. You can't go to a bank and get a student loan anymore. You can only go to the federal government. And they're going to make it easy for you to pay back. Instead of paying back your debt, they're suggesting now that you just come to work for us in the government. What? Once a government employee, always a government employee. And they'll also kill religion as well. One fell swoop. If you study religion, you teach religion, you can't get any relief on your student loans. That's interesting, isn't it? Also, a story on theblaze.com today. The Communist Party USA had a big conference this weekend in New York. The Communist Party USA, that nobody needs to pay attention to, I'm sure. The speakers revealed their plans for America. They said the upcoming elections are, quote, part of a grander design that will connect the dots between immediate and longer-range political tasks. One of those tasks? Stop the right-wing extremism, beginning with this guy. It's pretty ugly. He's such an extremist. Now, I wonder why he's being targeted by the Communist Party. Well, take a look, see if you can figure it out.
What percentage of the American legislature do you think are carrying Marxist or
corporate I believe there's about 78 to 81 members of the Democrat Party that are members of the Communist Party.
Okay. Of course, the media clipped his comments and mocked him. When the full context is played, it shows that he's absolutely 100% historically accurate. Extreme leftist, liberals, communists, socialists started calling themselves what? Progressives. That was the banner. The difference between a communist and a progressive from the very beginning was, we're going to progress into communism. We're not going to take it by revolution, because Americans don't like revolution. That's the definition of progressive. Soledad O'Brien on CNN expressed disbelief that the members of the Progressive Congressional Caucus, like Raul Grijalva, would even be considered a communist. No, couldn't happen.
So name names for me.
Budget amendment.
Start naming them, the 78, 81. No, we do. I'm dying to know. Which are the members of Congress that are
caucus? You can go.
Progressive. I've got them right here.
Progressive caucus.
Progressive caucus members. So Keith Ellison is a communist.
And Soledad. You know something?
Raul Grijalva is a communist.
Yes.
Well, look, I'm just talking about the fact of the ideologies, the principles
Tammy
that you
Baldwin's
believe in.
a communist.
You
Judy
can
Chu
call
is a
it. You can call it whatever you want.
Let's go to Raul here. Let's just look at the Communist Party USA. They had nothing but glowing things to say about Grijalva. In their paper, The People's World. That's the Communist Party's newspaper. The Grijalva campaign was a textbook example of how to conduct a people's campaign. Really? Using street tactics, all of labor worked to back one candidate, Raul in Tucson, and we, say the communists, we won. All of labor. And we won. Communist Party, their statement. So how much of a stretch is that? How about another progressive caucus member, Danny Davis? You remember this guy? He recently was busted accepting a social justice award in person at the Communist Party USA headquarters. There he is. Now, what was it that President Obama said about him?
How's everybody doing today? You just heard from one of the best congressmen in the country, and the reason he's one of the best congressmen in the country is he shares our values.
Stop. Shares our values. Whose values? Labor union. Getting an award from the communist. Let me ask you this. How many of the 76 active members of the Progressive Caucus have raved about Fidel Castro? How many of them have gone and raved about Colonel Gaddafi or Mahmoud Ahmadinejad? Oh, you're right, Soledad. Alan West is crazy. He's cuckoo. You and the rest of the media are in full-fledged cover-up mode. But America, make no mistake, there are communists in our own country, and there are communists, and you know this. We're at a crossroads. See, if people were honest, we could just have this conversation. Let's just have the conversation. Do you want to be a communist country or a radical socialist party that throws away the Constitution of the United States? Because that's what Occupy Wall Street is doing. They're rewriting a new Constitution. That's what they're doing. What's the Constitution? Look at that compared to the Communist Party, the planks in the Communist Manifesto. Hello?